Okay, time is 9:30. I'll call the Millcreek Township Board of Supervisors meeting of August 13th to order. If you would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded by WQLN television station and will be broadcast on the Spectrum Channel 1025, which is Millcreek Government Channel, and also will be available later this week on the youtube.com channel for Millcreek Government. Just as a little note here, normally you would see Mark Shaw sitting down here to my far left. Lydia Caparosa, who is also a lawyer with the McDonnell Dillig Jones and Britton, she's filling in for Mark in his absence. Moving on to item number 3, public comment on agenda items other than development or rezoning. Do we have any comment from the public? Being none, we'll move on to item 4, approval of the minutes from our last meeting. Questions, comments, additions, corrections? If not, I'll call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the July 23rd minutes.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Item number 5 is approval of the bills. Any questions or comments? I believe there are some additional bills. Is that correct, Cheryl? Yes, we did have some additional. Any questions or comments on that? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, item number 6 is capital budget amendment requests. Let's turn this over to Mark Jaheski, our Township Treasurer.
Okay, there are 3 of these. I don't know if you want to vote on these individually or as a group. It's up to you, I guess.
Okay, well, let's look to Ms. Caparosa. Can we do them all together or individually?
Separately.
Separately? Okay.
Individually, just to be safe.
Okay, let's do that then.
Okay, the first one in is for the Sewer Bureau. They're looking to buy a 4-wheel drive pickup. The capital budget included $40,000. The as-equipped price came in at $36,900, so they want to put the balance to reserve. That's $3,100.
Okay.
It'd be my recommendation to approve that.
Okay. Okay, do I hear a motion on that?
Make a motion to approve the capital budget amendment request.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, Mark, what is our next one?
Okay, the second one is a garage service truck. The capital budget amount was $97,000. The as-equipped price is $100,795, leaving a deficit of $3,795, and that will be covered from the Feidler Road storm sewer project. That was initially meant to be bid out, and we did it in-house. So there's excess funds on that particular project. So it's my recommendation to cover the shortfall in the garage service truck with the excess from Feidler Road storm sewer project.
Okay, so that's your recommendation. Do I hear a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to approve the request.
And do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay.
Oh, apparently there was only 2.
The 2 of them there? Okay, that's good. Okay, thank you. Item number 7, bids and quotations. We'll start with radio equipment from the police department. Mr. Bach, what do you have?
Thank you. I have a request from Police Chief Scott Height. He's requesting permission to have Mobilecom replace the radio equipment at the Bell Valley site, 5441 Henderson Road, in the amount of $11,160. A couple weeks ago, a lightning strike damaged the equipment beyond repair. Because the equipment is essential to the police radio communications in that area, temporary repairs were completed to maintain the communications in that area, but a permanent repair is needed. The breakdown from Mobilecom: one voter with 4 receiver cards and 1 spare is $9,840. Installation labor for the voter $720. Troubleshooting and temporary repair labor $600. New surge protection is $100. That's the breakdown of the $11,000 $160 amount. Page 1 of the contract, there is a typo under item G, scheduled project commencement to be terminated. It should read to be determined. Just wanted to correct
Make
that,
that note, okay.
make that note.
Okay.
I have had conversations with Chief Height regarding this, and also I believe the insurance reimbursement was already completed.
Yes, or at least
close.
they've reimbursed us the amount less the deductible or depreciation once we show that the repairs have been made, and they're more than the amount that of the check they sent. They'll reimburse the balance.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll put that request in the form of a motion.
Okay, do I hear a second on that request?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, I've got several of them from Public Works Department, starting with the first one is a rolling jack for the Fleet Maintenance Department. Gary Snyder.
Good morning, gentlemen. We're seeking permission to purchase a rolling jack from Gary's Automotive Equipment, LLC, for our 4-post lift. The cost of this jack is $7,836.63, and would be purchased under the CoStar's contract number 800306. And this is a budgeted item, and it would be my recommendation to purchase this jack from Gary's Automotive under the CoStar's contract.
Okay. You mentioned that was a budgeted item. I heard you say that. Questions or comments from the board? If not, I'll call for a motion.
Gary, I'm just curious, is it coming under budget, over budget, or
Pardon me?
is this coming under budget or over budget, or?
This
Just
is under
curious.
budget.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Next item is a sewer camera truck and camera system for the Sewer Department, Public Works. Gary.
We're seeking permission to purchase a Ford E450 truck with a 16-foot box and an Aries inspection camera system. CoStar's contract number 25-039 at the price of $303,398 from Golden Equipment Company. This will be replacing our current camera as our frontline inspection system. This item is over budget, but will be covered with the monies from the amended budget request that Mark put in.
Okay.
So it would be my recommendation to purchase the truck and camera system from Golden Equipment Company under the CoStar's contract.
Okay. Okay, questions or comments from the board?
I have a question.
Yep.
The current camera, is it just run its useful life, or were we having issues with it, or
Both. It's run-
Both.
Yeah, both. It's
how old is it, do you think?
we're probably close to 10 years with that one,
Okay.
and that's generally about the life of these.
Okay, thank you, Gary.
Yeah, those things get beat pretty bad, you know, not intentionally, just the nature of what they do, so.
And Gary, this requires a new vehicle as well to go with the camera? Is it, we're replacing the vehicle as well because the camera went bad? I'm curious what what exactly we're doing here.
Well, we're going to be using, this is a second line camera system, so they're the old one.
Uh-huh.
So that would stay with that truck. And that's why we're purchasing the truck with this one.
So it can still be utilized, though, the old equipment?
Yes, as a backup. I mean,
Will that be part of the sewer, or is that going to be reallocated to streets for storm sewer inspections, or what's the intention for it?
we do both with it,
Okay.
quite frankly. Streets Department needs something inspected, we will use that one, because they're again, with the metal pipe, it's pretty tough on the cabling.
All right. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. Call for a motion on that. Was there a motion made? If not, I'll ask for a motion.
I'll make a
on
motion to approve that.
it. Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
Vote yes?
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Same here. I vote yes. Next one, software and integration for camera truck. Once again, Sewer Department. Gary.
Gentlemen, I think we're going to have to table this one.
Okay.
The budget amendment wasn't put on the list for amendments on this one,
Oh, okay.
and so I don't want to be voting on this without the budget.
Without the money there, okay.
What's, this wasn't budgeted at all, or this is, came in over budget?
This part wasn't budgeted at all. But we do have monies in the amendment for the budget.
Okay.
Was the request not processed, or, I mean, we don't have it in our packet, or do you have a copy of it with you?
I may have not thoroughly told Marcus which ones I wanted, so it's probably my fault.
I don't.
Okay.
Okay.
Is this time sensitive, Gary, or can it wait till next meeting?
No, it can wait till next meeting.
Okay. Next item is a 4x4 pickup truck, Public Works Sewer Department. Gary?
Yes, we are seeking permission to purchase a four-wheel drive pickup from Hallman Chevrolet for the purchase price of $36,900 under the CoStar's contract number 025-109. This is a budgeted item. It did come under budget, and it would be my recommendation to purchase this four-wheel drive from Hallman Chevrolet for the $36,900 under the CoStar's contract.
Okay. Okay, questions or comments? If not, a call for a motion.
I move to approve.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, next item is a service truck for the Public Works Fleet Department Maintenance. Gary?
We're seeking permission to purchase a 2020 Chevrolet four-wheel drive crew cab work truck and body from Hallman Chevrolet for the CoStar's contract 025-109, price of $100,795.14. This came in slightly over budget, but the difference will be made up from the budget amendment that Mr. Szewski had put in. The difference is $3,795.14.
Okay. Okay.
It would be my recommendation to purchase the truck from Hallman Chevrolet under the CoStar's contract for the price of $100,795.14.
Okay. Questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion on this.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
And I also vote yes. Next item, let's see here. Municipal Building Domestic Hot Water Tank, Building Maintenance Department. Gary?
Yes, we are seeking permission to purchase a new domestic hot water tank for the main building. We received three quotes, excuse me. The first from Wayfair, it was an internet quote for $4,699.99. The second from Trumbull Industries for $3,438.62. And the third from Supply for $3,223.71. It would be my recommendation to purchase the hot water tank from Supply for $3,223.71, and this is a budgeted item.
Okay. And we will replace this ourselves in-house?
Yes.
That's just for the item for the tank itself, no labor. Okay. Questions or comments? Any other from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, next item here is consultant services for zoning and saldo ordinances, planning and development, zoning department. Mr. Puz, do you want to handle this one?
Morning, gentlemen. In the next step to implement our comprehensive plan, Embrace Millcreek, our office issued a RFP for consulting services to update the zoning ordinance and the subdivision land development ordinance. We received two proposals. The first proposal was from Mackin Engineering for $102,754. The second one was from Ingalls Planning and Design with Duncan Associates. Their proposal was $150,200. After we interviewed them and read their proposals, it is our recommendation to hire Mackin Engineering for consulting services. They have significant experience in Pennsylvania, as well as updating and working with zoning ordinances and subdivision land development ordinances.
Okay.
I should mention that we did receive an EIP grant for $70,000, and that will pay for approximately half of the project. It's a one-for-one grant match.
Okay. Just, I have a question on
Yes.
this. Just for clarification, this is going to be a brand-new zoning and subdivision ordinance? I mean, separate ordinances, of course, or there's going to be just updates to the existing one? Are we going to be amending what we
These
have?
would be brand new,
Brand new?
from scratch.
Okay, that's what I
would
thought.
assume we're going to be using some elements of the existing
Oh, yeah.
ordinances, but
Yeah,
this
we will
is
need
not
that.
a bandage. This is more of a, let's.
Get some
it's
cleanups
easier-
on some things that are
Correct.
conflicting and maybe not
Yes,
up to
yes.
date with the law,
Yes, we
so.
want to start implementing, embrace Millcreek, and the proper way to do that is through the zoning
Right.
ordinance and the subdivision ordinance.
Right, this is just one of the functions of the comprehensive plan that
Mhm.
gives the authority to update ordinances
Correct.
and do it right. Okay. Questions, comments? John, do you have anything?
Well, I just want to commend Mr. Waldinger and Mr. Fuzz and their team on moving forward on the plan. I think they did a great job evaluating two consultants that came in. They're both great teams. I trust Mr. Puz in his judgment. Mackin has done extensive work in Pennsylvania. Their team seemed very well qualified to provide us the kind of guidance that we would require to implement our plan, and are eager to do some more, I think, innovative concepts in the township in regards to design standards, mixed-use developments, and modernizing some of our development requirements so we can address some of the issues we've heard from during the comprehensive plan from developers saying that maybe it's a little difficult to do some work in Millcreek, and we'd like to remove those hurdles where we can and streamline that process and encourage redevelopment in the township. So I think this is a good team, and I'm confident in our team in-house to be able to deliver an excellent product for us.
Jim, do you have anything you
When was the last update before this?
Last, 2011 would have been I think the last comprehensive update. There have been amendments since, but the last one would have been 2011.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's definitely time.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's time.
Okay, thanks for
Yeah.
all your work, Matt and Matty.
Yeah, just one thing I forgot to ask. Is there a time frame of how long, or will this be like through the end of the year, or is that just too aggressive of a schedule? Or is there no time frame?
The time frame that Mackin Engineering gave us is an 18-month process, which
Okay.
is kind of what we wanted. We wanted to ensure that we had enough time to actually do this correctly.
Okay.
And the 18 months is more than appropriate
Okay.
to do this.
Okay. Okay, just, I don't mean to be dragging this out, that's not what I'm getting at here. They will come up with a draft, and the planning commission will be looking at it. There will be public meetings, hearings, comments at the planning commission meetings, and then we will act on it after everything's been finalized,
Correct.
as recommendations, so.
The
Okay.
plan is to have the planning commission look at it in chunks.
Okay.
They're not doing, or excuse me, Mackin Engineering is not doing this in a vacuum. They're going to
Right.
involve everyone,
So-
including the public, to make sure that we
Yeah,
get
that-
this.
Yeah, that's where I'm
properly.
leading.
Yes.
Is we want public input on this.
Oh, correct.
It's
They'll
that
definitely-
important, right, John? We want public
Absolutely.
input.
Yeah, and I do believe
So,
we're going to
I
go
mean
above
that.
and beyond the requirements of the MPC. It's not just going to be the one public meeting
Okay.
at the
Okay.
planning commission, then the hearing. We want to have the public
Okay.
engagement.
We'll be waiting. Okay, thank you. Okay, so made a recommendation there. Do I hear a motion?
Mr.
I'm
Grow,
sorry.
before you proceed, just in terms of adopting or awarding this contract, I would recommend that awarding subject to finalizing our consultant standard agreement.
Oh, yeah.
And authorizing the chair to sign that once the solicitor's reviewed and recommended.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Thanks for that.
I'll make a motion to authorize the Plan Development Department and solicitor to proceed with drafting a consultant agreement with Mackin Engineering for a total not to exceed $102,754, and authorizing the chairman to execute that document upon completion.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Thank you. Okay, our next item is the ADA project bid announcement for the Asbury Barn Planning and Development. Matt Waldinger, your turn.
Thank you. Good morning. Yes, as part of our ongoing goal to upgrade all of our facilities to meet ADA standards, the next project in line is for the Asbury Barn complex. That, in order to be compliant, that requires some handicap parking as well as a compliant access path to the barn itself. The township sought quotes to have that work done. We contacted 3 contractors, and the results are as follows. Maya Brothers Concrete had a bid of $14,400. Amendola Development had a bid of $16,400. And Vavala Concrete Construction chose not to bid on this project. So it is the recommendation of the Planning and Development Department and Township Engineer Ann Sokol that we award this work to Maya Brothers Concrete for the low bid amount of $14,400.
Okay. Questions or comments from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with Maya Brothers Concrete for $14,400.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second that.
Okay. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay. Our next item is 2019 Flood Detention Basin Mowing Project bid announcement.
Mr. Groh, before we proceed,
Yeah.
I just gave to Mr. Zachewski the capital budget amendment related to this item.
Oh, okay.
It was not included in the earlier capital budget
Oh, okay.
items.
Okay.
So
We do need to
we do
act
need
on
to
it.
act on that first before we
Okay.
proceed to the bid award for that.
Okay, so we're still on the consultant services for the zoning and saldo ordinances. What numbers do we have? Where do we come from?
Okay, the flood detention basin cleanout was a non-budgeted item, and it has a bid amount of $19,730. That's the amount that needs to be covered. The Haas Avenue storm sewer project is not going to be completed this year, so we're going to take the proposal is to take the money from Haas Avenue.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Snyder, you have a concern about that statement?
Yes, it was completed this year, but it was done in-house, so that $20,000 was not spent on that.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Snyder.
in-house, okay.
So we didn't need the 20,000. So we're going to cover the shortfall for the flood detention basins from the Haas Avenue line item, leaving a balance of $270 for reserve.
Okay. Okay. Questions or comments? I think that was explained there, that we had 20,000 put in there for the storm sewer on Haas. We did it in-house instead of having it contracted. And so we got $20,000 we didn't know we had. Now we can take care of the flood detention basins.
That was
that-
a cleaning job. That was an installation of.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was strictly cleaning.
Okay.
Mr. Waldinger, Mr. Snyder, I guess my question is, I know we talked last year about developing a detention basin plan, but this wasn't in the budget. Was it anticipated that we'd be doing this work in-house, and now because of the extent we're contracting out? I'm just curious how we came about contracting out without having a budget item for it.
I believe that it was always going to be contracted out. It was just one of those things that kind of slipped through the cracks. We simply just don't have the capability of doing them with
Okay.
the equipment, excuse me,
Okay.
to do that kind of
Right.
work.
Yeah. It's very nasty work, you might want to call it. Very,
It is.
it's tough work, very labor intensive, so, and machinery required for it. So, Okay.
That was my, I know we haven't gotten to that yet about the price of that, but I was comparing last year's to this year's with I think Manzi did it last year too.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I'm just questioning, it's a $3,700 increase from last year. I understand costs go up, gasoline, maintenance, labor, but some of these breakdowns are double and triple what they were last year. And I'm just wondering if they gave you the reason for that, or do we know?
Yeah, Ann Sokol from my office did request the quotes. I guess last year Manzi had trouble in certain basins because of the conditions. They got stuck. They were a little more difficult to access and to work in, and so that resulted in the increase in costs in some of the basins.
Okay, because I noticed 2 or 3 of the basins are identical in price, but like I said, other ones, like Pleasant Valley was 1,100, and this year it's 3,000. I'm thinking the basin's the same.
Yeah, but
If in effect it's less work this year, because hadn't it been multiple years since they were done last year?
I don't recall when they were done previous to last year, I'm sorry.
Okay,
But I do know that they had, certain ones that they had more difficulty accessing and working in, and that resulted
Okay.
in the increase in price.
Yeah.
okay, thanks, Matt.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? If not, a call for a motion.
Mr. Groh, before you
Yeah.
proceed, just,
Oh, we have to act on the
yes.
budget.
We
Okay.
also, because this wasn't an item on the agenda, we do need to ask for public comment as
Okay.
well.
Okay, so our first motion is going to be the budget transfer. Okay, so I need to have a motion for the budget transfer, budget amendment that is, and then we'll call for public comment since that was not on the agenda. Fair motion on that?
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Do I hear a second on that?
I'll second the budget amendment.
Okay. Okay, now we'll call for any public comment since this was not an item on the agenda. Any public comment? Okay, being none, if you'll note that on the record there. Okay, call for a vote. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I'll vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, or Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, now we've got the money transferred, let's talk about the bid itself there. Do I hear a motion to award that to Manzi? Is that correct, Manzi Services? Okay, and that's at the price of $19,730.
Correct.
Do I hear a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to
Okay.
approve that.
Do I hear a second on that? Do I hear a second? Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, if not, I'll second.
With reservation.
But I
With
have some,
reservation.
but I have some commentary
Okay, please,
afterwards.
yes. Okay.
Um,
You're going to second that, John?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
second.
Okay, then. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I'll vote yes.
Okay, sound reluctant when you say that.
I am a
Okay.
little reluctant.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes with reservations.
Okay.
It was my understanding that we were going to do some of these in-house
Right.
Okay.
this year, and I have been getting calls on them. One in particular, I know they need done,
Yep.
so that's why I'm voting to get them done this year before the weather turns, but
Okay.
I'm just a little confused as to
Yes.
why it went this way.
Yes, and me too. I'm voting yes, also with concerns too.
Yeah. So
Okay,
I guess my
go ahead.
commentary, gentlemen, is, as Mr. Bach said, I remember last year we contracted out this work with the intention of getting caught up to get them down to a level where our in-house teams can maintain them from here on out. So I guess I'm a little surprised that we're contracting it out 2 years in a row. We don't need to have this discussion now, but I think we do need to have a follow-up meeting with you guys to figure out what the plan is going forward so we understand a little more of how this came to be and figure out what to do next year, maybe. So,
If I could, Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to add that this is also something that will be explored as part of the work that Wood Environmental is doing now as far as our stormwater program. What actions we're currently doing as far as maintenance and operation, and then a recommended program for what we should be doing and how we should be doing it.
Right.
So that will also come from this study that we're undergoing now.
Right. Okay, sounds good, and we will have discussion outside of the meeting here. Okay, sounds good. Moving on to our next item. Let's see here, that would be the Lester Lawndale Sewer Project bid announcement and award from the, actually, I guess Matt Waldinger is going to be handling this one. Go ahead, Matt.
Thank you. The Planning and Development Department solicited bids to construct the Lester Lawndale Sanitary Sewer Project. This project will provide public sanitary sewer to 15 residences now served by on-lot septic systems, some of which are failing. 6 contractors submitted bids for this project, and they were TerraWorks in the amount of $321,617, Klingensmith Enterprises in the amount of $274,848, Consul Construction in the amount of $249,024, Pollard Land Services in the amount of $239,474, Amendola Development in the amount of $193,183, and Shivers Construction in the amount of $189,677.90. I will mention that the sewer technical manager Dave Wright's estimate based on the engineering costs for this project was $216,202. So it is the recommendation of Sanitary Sewer Technical Manager David Wright that the contract be awarded to the low bidder, Shivers Construction, for their bid price of $189,677.90. As I mentioned, the original estimate for this project was $216,202, so this is under the estimated cost. And I would like to remind you that the cost of this work will be reimbursed to the Sewer Revenue Fund through assessment of the property owners that are benefiting from this project.
Okay. Questions or comments from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with Shivers Construction for the price of $189,677.90.
Okay, second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay. Item number 8, Resolution 2019-R41 is a resolution approving a revision to the Millcreek Township Official Sewage Facilities Plan for the Lester Lawndale Sewer Extension Project. Let's see here. Matt Waldinger.
Yes, thank you. This goes along with the last bid that we just awarded for Shivers for the Lester Lawndale Sewage Project. Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection requires the township to provide a resolution approving a revision to our official sewer facilities plan, and that would be to accommodate this project. We've received approval from all the required local agencies, and so this is now in a form to be presented to the board for their approval. This planning module is for 15 lots on Lester Lane and Lawndale Drive, which will produce an additional 15 equivalent dwelling units, or approximately 6,000 gallons per day of sewage. These flows will be conveyed to the Erie Wastewater Treatment Plant through the Asbury Woods Collection System, and then conveyed to the railroad interceptor and on into the city. So it's a recommendation of my department that the board approve this resolution. I'm not sure if Ms. Caparosa has anything to add on this, or?
I don't have anything further.
Thank you.
Okay, questions or comments from the board? I think Mr. Waldinger explained it pretty good there. Okay, call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2019-R41.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Moving on, item number 9, Resolution 2019-R40, a resolution pursuant to Resolution 2015-R20 and the Municipal Records Manual to approve proposed disposition of certain township records. And this comes from Chris Filson from the Police Department IT. Video deletions. He's seeking approval for the deletion of videos of Millcreek Police Department dash cam server, and let's see here, let's find out what dates they are. I'm going to scroll down here a little bit. It would be videos deleted between August 14th and August the 27th, once they reach their end of required retention period. This is a typical one. I think we do every meeting, disposition of these records. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2019 R40.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, item number 10 is ordinance 2019-14, an ordinance of the Millcreek Township, Erie County, amending and restating the Township of Millcreek Police Pension Plan. Mark Shahaski.
Yes, this is, well, the ordinance was written by McDonough Law Firm. This is in part from the arbitration award that was from the last contract. I think it was awarded in June of 2017. There are a variety of changes, some of which are updating the plan for IRS regulations. One of the things that was added was the ability for officers that had prior military service to buy time into the vesting for the pension plan, and therefore counting towards their 20 years of vesting. That was also awarded through the arbitration award. The adoption of the restated plans has always been handled through ordinances, and this is just another step in that process.
Okay. Okay. Ms. Caparosa, do you have anything you want to add to that?
I don't have anything. Thank you,
Okay.
John.
Okay. So any questions among the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2019-14.
Do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Moving on to item number 11, new and amended ordinances under review. Ms. Caparosa, do you have anything?
I do, Mr. Grow. There is a ordinance currently under review for a parking restriction along the one side of Chilton Court. It will be published once the supervisors have finished their review of that.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, item number 12, amended land development plan for the hammocks at Millcreek. Matt Waldinger.
Thank you very much. The developer, Reedman Companies, has submitted an amended land development plan for the hammocks at Millcreek Phase 2. This is in regards to the last two buildings to be built in the complex, building 800 and 900. Their previous plan showed that there was a sanitary sewer easement behind the buildings to the north of the buildings. Based on a change in design of the buildings themselves, they need to move that sanitary easement to the front side or the south side of those buildings. So this amendment is simply to re-record this plan to show the easement on the south side of the buildings rather than the north side.
Okay. Okay. That is very minor then, yeah. Questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Waldinger, is that requiring kind of public hearing, or is this a small modification?
No, this falls under the amendment clause. Just need it to be approved by the board so that they can sign the updated Mylar and have it recorded at the county.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment.
Here a second.
I'll second.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Item number 13, Fish and Boat Commission Settlement Agreement. Lydia Caparosa.
Thank you, Mr. Grow. I'm going to turn it over to Gary Snyder to just discuss the background of this settlement.
Thank you. On July 1st of this year, we had a power outage at our Wolf Road pump station. There is a backup generator at that station. The generator was ran the day before, all our pump stations are, the backup generators are ran once a week. From the day before until the 1st of July, the battery died. So the generator didn't start. So we had a sewage overflow. And this is a result of that overflow. We have had problems at that station before with force mains breaking and other things. So that's why the generator was installed there. This is a result of that. Not to make light of anything, right? This is one of the lighter fines from the Fish and Boat Commission. Their people before have told us that once you're fined by them, you will always be fined from those folks. So there is no getting around it. It doesn't matter to them if it's mechanical or what the question is. So that's the background on the fines.
Gary, I understand there's also a delay in response to the issue. There's a problem with the alarm system, or
the alarm did activate. It did come into dispatch. I can't speak for what happened between then and when we got a phone call from a private concern that there was water coming out of a manhole. So like I said, I can't.
so our crews were never actually notified by dispatch?
No, not until, like I said, 4 o'clock, a phone call came in to one of the ladies here, and she dispatched, she called Mark Wells, and he left from home.
Did anyone ever actually, I know there was talk of following up with dispatch, see what the miscommunication was. Did we ever get clarification?
Yes,
on
my
that?
understanding is that there was follow-up conducted by our chief and also the lieutenant that directly supervises dispatch, and those issues were addressed internally. That's my understanding.
In an effort to fully resolve the matter, the township is voluntarily going to pay $1,000 in lieu of fines and civil damages to the Fish and Boat Commission, and that will resolve this matter.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the settlement with the Fish and Boat Commission for $1,000.
Do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Next item number 14, PADEP grant funding reimbursement. This comes from Jessica Stutzman, in charge of our recycling department. The recycling department is seeking reimbursement from Act 101 DEP Section 902 grant implementation. The grant amount of $140,960. This grant funding was used to purchase a self-propelled straddle windrow turner for the processing of leaves at the Millcreek Compost Center in the fall of 2018. Your recommendation is that approval of the Act 101 DEP Section 902 implementation grants, which requires signatures from the supervisors for reimbursement. Just for a note here, in 2015, the 902 grant paid out $250,000, while the current DEP 902 grant for 2018 will pay out $140,960. So she's requesting that we sign for that grant application for reimbursement. I hear any questions? If not, entertain a motion on that.
I'll make a motion to approve that request.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Item number 15, LECOM tax assessment settlement. Lydia Caparosa.
Thank you. This matter arises out of tax assessment appeals that were filed by MCH Corporation, Erie County Board of Assessment Appeals, Millcreek Township, and the Millcreek Township School District with respect to 4 properties in Millcreek Township, 1061 Dudley Street, 1655 Dudley Street, 5530 Peach Street, and Peach Street and Bryan Streets. Each of the parties filed an assessment appeal contesting the assessments for these 4 properties, and the parties have agreed to settle the matter. The assessments for the 3 properties, 1661 and 1665 Dudley Street, will remain at $50,000 as their assessed value, and the Peach and Bryant Street property will also remain at its assessed value of $2,020,000. The 5530 Peach Street, the assessment we reduced from $178,200 to $50,000. As part of that, the taxing bodies will not issue a refund to MCH Corporation for the reduction in the assessment of 5530 Peach Street. And this, by signing the agreement, we resolve the matter, and we will withdraw our assessment appeals.
Okay. Questions or comments regarding this matter? Jim or John, anything?
No, sir.
If not, I'll entertain a motion.
And, Mr. Grove, before you
Yes.
proceed, the way the agreement is drafted is it's for signature by Jennifer Hernierson of McDonald Illig, so I
Okay.
would recommend approving or authorizing her to sign on behalf of Millcreek.
Okay. It's duly noted. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to authorize McDonald Illig to approve the WECOM tax assessment settlement.
Do I hear a second on that?
I will second.
Okay, Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
And Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, moving on. Item number 16 is a PUC appeal regarding Pennsylvania One Call Act. Lydia?
Thank you, Mr. Grove. This matter arises from a letter that the township received dated July 15th from the Pennsylvania Utility Commission Damage Prevention Committee. As a result of an informal determination, this committee assessed the township an administrative penalty of $1,000 for allegedly failing to respond to an emergency PA one call notification. I'm seeking authorization to appeal that determination because based upon township records and documentation, we believe that the township did respond to the address that was provided in the one call notification within the allotted time frame, and so we wish to dispute that.
Okay. Do you happen to know how much time that would take for the appeal?
I do not know. We have to file this letter with the PUC by
Okay.
the 15th of August, and the option was to elect for a formal proceeding or an informal proceeding.
Right.
Our recommendation would be to do the informal proceeding.
Just filing briefs? Yeah.
Or whatever they request.
Yeah.
I did, in the letter, if you review the draft, it does set forth, and I will be providing the copy of the notification the department received and our time records that indicate our employees responded to
Okay.
the address provided. The PUC, in their letter, used a different address to respond to, and the one we responded to was what was in the notification.
I see. Okay. That's explained. Any other questions or comments from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to authorize the PUC appeal.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, item number 17, financial security release request. This is for the Sonic Drive-In at Millcreek Mall. Penn Sonic Peach LLC is the developer. Matt Puzz.
Yes. Good morning, gentlemen. The developer, Pensonic Peach LLC, constructed the Sonic Drive-In up on Peach Street. They are requesting their financial security to be released in the amount of $137,492.30. The township engineer is recommending the release. All public improvements have been completed, and we do have enough in the deposit fund to cover all final bills from GPI. So it would be at this time that we would recommend releasing of this financial security.
Okay. Questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Pudge, recommending release of the full amount?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, everything has been completed. I don't see any reason to hold any more funds.
Okay. Okay. Jim, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, here for a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the financial security release for Sonic Drive-In Penn Sonic Peach LLC.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Item number 18, stormwater maintenance plan and agreement request for the M Cafe at 5411 West 12th, or West Lake Road, I'm sorry, LLC. As a developer, Matt
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, what's before you is the stormwater maintenance plan for the MCAFE as well as their stormwater maintenance agreement. Just as a reminder to the board, if you remember a couple of meetings ago, MCAFE came before you and requested a land development exclusion based on the size of their development. Part of the exclusion is they still have to follow all township regulations, including stormwater. They have complied. They have submitted a plan to Greenman Peterson that they have approved. So at this time, I ask the board to approve the plan as well as approve their stormwater maintenance agreement, which they have signed, and it is the township approved for.
Okay. Questions, comment among the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the stormwater management maintenance agreement and plan for MCAFE.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I will second.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, item number 19, July Building Construction Report. Matt Waldinger.
Thank you very much. Yeah, in the month of July, we had one new home construction and one addition for a total increased value of $460,766. As far as non-residential, we issued a total of 26 permits for an additional value of $2,248,000. Between all permits issued in the month of July, the total 30 permits, total increased value of $2,709,000, which brought in $7,750 in permit fees to the township. If anybody would like a copy of this report, it will be available on the website later today, or hard copies will be available in the Planning and Development Office.
Okay, thank you. Okay, communications, starting with Treasurer. Mark, do you have anything for us?
No, nothing further.
Okay. John, do you have anything for us? think you
Yes,
do.
Mr. Chairman, we have a request from Diane Lyons, our HR manager, requesting the promotion of Jacqueline Polka from a part-time dispatcher to a full-time dispatcher to fill a vacancy in our full-time position. The motion would be to promote Jacqueline Polka to the rate of $18.83 per hour with a start date of August 19th, 2019.
Okay.
I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Do I hear a second on that?
I will second.
Okay, Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay. You want to handle the other one there too? Or do you want me to handle it?
I'm not really familiar with it.
Okay. Okay. This one comes from Ashley Marsteller from the Parks and Rec Department, summer employee approval. She has a list of employees who are being requested for the higher rate and approval for their services in the programming through the Recreation Department. She has a list, excuse me a second, of, there we go, come on. There are 5 names on there: a gymnastics instructor, Millcreek Golf Center, a lifeguard, and assistant supervisor at the Bell Valley Pool. And these are rate changes due to their experience with their time served with Millcreek Township. Rate of pay goes from $7.65 at the lowest end up to a pay raise of $10 an hour for people at the golf course. So I put that in the form of a motion to approve those employee rates for that season. Do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote no.
Okay, Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, let's see here, what else do we have? A hiring request from the Planning and Development Department.
So that's Mr. Waldinger.
Oh, all right, thank you. Yes, the township has been actively advertising, seeking a new engineer. We were lucky enough to have an application from a Mr. John Sebesta. He is a Millcreek Township resident, currently employed by PennDOT in Oil City. He interviewed with the township. We were very impressed with him and with his qualifications. And so we would like to ask the board to hire Mr. Sebesta. This is a budgeted item for this employee. His rate would be $64,000 a year, and his date of hire would be September 9th, 2019.
Okay. Questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Well, I just want to again, commend Mr. Waldinger and Ms. Sokol and HR Manager Diane Lyons for finding, I think, an excellent recruit for our team here. Mr. Best has extensive experience with PennDOT, which is one of the agencies we work very closely with. And I know Ms. Sokol was excited to have someone with his experience to manage some of our PennDOT projects. So I think it's an excellent fit for the team. And thank you guys for putting forth the effort to reel this guy in. We appreciate it.
Okay, that's good, yeah. Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the hire of John Sebesta as a project engineer at the rate of $64,000 with a hire date of September 9th, 2019.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I will second that.
Okay, Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay. Next one is a training request from the Public Services Department. This comes from Jessica Stutzman in the Recycling Department. She's requesting a permission for an employee of the Recycling Department to attend the PROPT, Pennsylvania Recyclers of Pennsylvania, Professional Recyclers of Pennsylvania, Con Ed classes, which include Prop 110, Prop 115, which is Recycling Economics, and Prop 150, Recycling Public Policy, which that person will attend October 8th and 9th in Bellefonte, Pennsylvania. Her recommendation that the employee take these courses in order to maintain prop certification. A 2-night stay in a hotel room and use of personal vehicle will be necessary. The cost for the classes is $490,000, and the travel were approved in the 2019 recycling budget. So I'll put that in the form of a motion to approve that training request as
Mr.
stated.
Groh, before you proceed,
Yeah.
I think you read that as $490,000.
I'm sorry,
And just want to
490,
correct.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a really expensive one. 490, corrected. Okay. I'll put that in the form of a motion to approve that training request.
I'll second.
Okay, not 490,000, geez. Okay. John made the second. Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes for $490. Okay.
Going once.
Yes, going once. Let's see here, executive sessions. We did have executive sessions with our solicitor on July 25th, August 1st, and August 8th to discuss some legal matters, among some personnel matters too. Okay, moving on. Millcreek Police Department requests.
Thank you,
Bach.
John. Have several requests from Chief Scott Height. First one is requesting approval for 3 detectives to attend facial recognition investigative search training utilizing the PA Chiefs of Police facial recognition software. Training is in Butler County on August 22nd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. There is no cost for the training class, and travel would be by department vehicle for those 3 detectives. I'll make a motion to that effect.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes.
Okay, the next request from the chief is approval for Detective Ryan Mays to attend a 1-day training course in Knox, PA on Thursday, September 19th. He's a member of the Regional Explosive Ordnance Disposal Unit, and this training is required to maintain his Pennsylvania Blaster's license. The cost of the training is $100 and will be reimbursed by PEMA. Travel will be by department vehicle. I'll put, and there are no additional anticipated expenses for that class. I'll make a motion for that.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Okay. Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes.
The Blaster's license?
Yeah. Got to have a license,
Sounds
I
like
guess,
fun to me.
Does.
Yeah.
The next one is approval is requested for 3 corporals assigned to the Patrol Division to attend training to receive certification as a field training officer. The course runs September 16th to the 20th at Mercyhurst University Municipal Police Academy. Registration is $1,500. Travel will be by department vehicle. At this time, there are no additional expenses. I will make a motion for that training as well.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes.
And we have one more. Oh, we have one more here. This
Okay.
is approval to authorize personnel from West Ridge Fire Department to assist with traffic control during the McDowell Cross Country Invitational being held at Brown's Farm on August 31st from 8 a.m. until 1 p.m. So the chief is requesting authorization for those fire police to be utilized for traffic there. Make a motion for that.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mr. Bach, how about you?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes.
And that's all I have from the
Okay.
police.
Okay, I shut my computer down a little quick here. We have
Okay.
the Ikado picnic coming up, and that's on
Yeah. August 28th.
August 28th, and that's going to be at at Picnicana is where it is.
Yes.
Ikado is the Erie County Association of Township Officials, which includes supervisors, and of course, we generally go to it. Those requesting to attend are myself, Mark Shaw, our solicitor, and we also invited our former supervisors, retired Jess Giulianti and Brian McGrath. And the cost is what, 15 a person? 15
Yes,
per
sir.
person, so I'll put that in the form of a motion to approve the attendance by those 4 individuals. And that's on August the 28th, $15 apiece, $60 total.
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. And then also we have one more. It's a letter to PennDOT regarding the Barber Beast on the Bay. And this is a typical letter we send every year, letting PennDOT know. This letter is to confirm that Millcreek Township is coordinating services with the Barber National Institute for their annual Barber Beast on the Bay, which is going to be held September 7th. That's Saturday, 2019. Our police department, our emergency management, and fire departments will be assisting the Barber Institute on site to ensure the safety of the participants as well as those assisting in orderly traffic control. So that's just a typical letter we send. We need to authorize that to be sent. So I'll put that in the form of a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, solicitor communications. Lydia, do you have anything for us?
I do not.
Okay. Cheryl, you have our right to know report for July. What do you have?
In the month of July, there were 13 requests. 6 were granted, 3 were denied, 3 were partially denied, and 1 was withdrawn, for a total of 23 hours of preparation.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving around here. Anything else? Matt Paz, do you have anything?
I do not.
Matt Waldinger.
Nothing further.
Gary Snyder.
Nothing further.
Okay, citizens to be heard. Do we have any citizens to be heard? No citizens to be heard? Okay. Entertain a motion to adjourn at 10:32.
So moved.
Okay, we are done. Thank you.